Hey, friends and story lovers. Today's short is called Fisher of Men, about an interaction between an uncle and a nephew. And it lets you know that some interactions mean more than you know. Today's presentation on the short Fisher of Men. Mort sipped a beer in his dented trailer, the floor littered with worthless lottery tickets and shattered dreams. Something crawled across the table unnoticed. Jason burst in then, tripping as usual on the top step. "Hi, Uncle Mort. You ready?" Mort lifted a cigarette and sucked deeply before turning to his nephew. "That kid, so dang perky and always going on about Jesus. If he wasn't my sister's boy." "Uncle Mort?" Yeah, kid, I'm ready." He couldn't remember why he'd agreed to take Jason fishing for the weekend. "I already put my stuff in your truck." He grabbed Mort's gear from the small pile in the corner. "Is this all you got?" Mort nodded, snuffing the butt and downing the beer. Why'd he have to smile so much? Jason rushed outside as Mort peeled himself from the sofa. He shuffled to his door and grunted down the 3 steps that led to the rest of creation. A full minute later, he reached the driver's side of his pickup. Jason stood there holding up a small card. "Can I drive?" "What you got there?" "My license. Got it yesterday." Mort didn't feel like focusing and took his word for it. "So can I drive?" "Sure, kid." Might be nice to relax and catch a wink on the way to the lake. However, young Jason seemed no fan of silence, and his inquisitive nature, coupled with pitted roads, meant Mort barely closed his eyes at all. Jason stole only periodic glances at his passenger during the drive, ensuring the integrity of his 10-2 grip on the steering wheel. "Uncle Mort, can I ask you something?" "Question number 3012. What, boy?" "Why didn't you ever get married?" Mort coughed a spell and laughed. "What?" "I mean, don't you ever get lonely?" "Nope. The way I see it, women love 2 things, yakking and nagging. Besides, the kind of women round these parts aren't worth looking at for more than a few hours." "What about family?" "Family wasn't my thing. That was Sheila's dream." Jason stifled a cough and lowered his lids at the mention of his mother. For a brief moment, silence rode with them. Mort fidgeted. "So, Jason, how's your pa holding up?" "Oh, the light in the boy's eyes flickered. "He's all right." "Always liked your pa." "Mom's illness took a toll on him. Jason sat taller and took a breath. "I'm glad she's not suffering anymore, and I know she's in heaven, but I sure miss her." Mort nodded quietly so as not to spark a religious discussion. He knew how those Christians loved to work that stuff into conversations. But Jason seemed content, and the interrogation took off in other directions. They reached Mort's favorite fishing hole by lunchtime. Hidden by a maze of foreboding trees, a small peninsula jutted out onto the bluest water on earth. The ground dropped steeply just offshore, and they fished barefoot, dangling toes in the cool water. Plush grass blanketed the area, and the air hung heavy with peace and a purity that made Mort forget his headache. Amidst such splendor, even he fought to deny the existence of God. That evening they built a fire, and the smell of smoke and fish soon filled their campsite. Mort figured this was as close to heaven as he'd ever get. Jason, waiting for his fish to cool, coughed and reached into his pack to retrieve a pill. He downed it without a word, peeking sheepishly at his uncle. Mort knew that look. He knew that sound. It was Sheila's cough. "You still playing baseball, boy?" Jason blew on his food. "No, I kinda got a lot on my plate this year, and I mean to focus more on my studies." Watching his nephew, Mort's heart swelled unexpectedly. Flickering flames sent flashes across Jason's face, illuminating a tranquility that seemed out of place. What does he have to smile about? As the fire died down, the light around Jason seemed to intensify, and Mort could not reclaim his gaze. Radiating from his nephew was something far more intoxicating than the beer by his side, and Mort had an overwhelming sense Jason knew something he didn't. "Hey, boy, I got that chili cook-off in Sussex next weekend, but what do you say? Want to go fishing again the week after?" Another silent prayer rose as Jason chewed his fish. There was hope for his old uncle yet. Thank you for listening to the short, and I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. Please know that God loves you, and when you're ready to talk, He's ready to listen. God bless you.